Brooke Smith here. I played Catherine Martin in Silence of the Lambs and Bates Motel as well, which I also really liked. I wish that one could have continued. And the most important advice that I think I can give you, just don't go out there. Okay? I'll say it again. Just don't go out there.
They've conquered the big screen. Now, get ready for the spin-off sure to send chills down your spine. It's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin in Don't Go Out There, the series.
Welcome back, everybody, to DGOT, the series. We really appreciate y'all listening. We hope y'all have been enjoying these series reviews. I know we have. It's been a lot of fun. Just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network, so there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support.
We are concluding Bates Motel Season 1 this week. Brother Mike, going to give your general thoughts on episodes 9 and 10?
Sure. I really liked the ending of the season. Now, I will say I do, and I don't even mean this in a bad way because I enjoyed the episode, but 9 does feel like a little bit of a filler. It does. If I had to pick one episode out of the season, 9's kind of forgettable. Like nothing cataclysmic happened. Like nothing, it moves the story along. So like, it's fine. Like it's not bad. It's, 40 minutes in and out, bang, bang, nothing crazy. But 10 is really, really good. I really like 10. It wraps up a couple stories. It expands on some lore. It expands on this version of Norman turning into the version that we end up with. In Psycho, they're layering the onion, and I like it. Or they're peeling back the layers of the onion, I should say. I really like episode 10 a lot, and 9's good. It's not, excellent or anything, but definitely not something that I'm like, skip. Like, I think it's good, and I really love the way they wrap this up. Honestly, Vera Farmiga's great in both of these episodes for a lot of reasons. Her acting is standout performance in these two. Freddie Highmore's great in episode 10 as he starts to lose his fucking mind. And I love where they're taking the character of Emma. I really, really enjoy that. And I kind of know where it's going, so that kind of helps. And I like the more involved Romero. I think getting him to be a main character, this is his kind of foot in the door. And somebody in the show has to have some fucking morals to stand on. And Romero's kind of, sort of, that guy if you had to pick one. So all in all, thought it was a great way to wrap up season 1. Can't wait to pick season 2 next so Dustin can have a good time with that. He'll probably make me stop doing the series again. He'll kick me off and just get back to you three.
I won't. I think I'll just take a hiatus.
All right, I'm not picking that, brother. You're good.
I'll go next. I like both episodes, Mike. Like you said, the story progressed on. They're just fun watches to me, and I agree with you. Vera Farmiga was fantastic. I've mentioned there's one specific scene that I really, really think she was fantastic in. I like Emma's progression, like you mentioned as well. Freddie Highmore's descent into becoming Norman Bates, loved it as well. He has some really standout scenes, and even Dylan, I didn't really care for him at the beginning, but I like his story as well. Like when we finally give our rating for the season, there is something that I will concede that I get 100%. But overall, I thought it was a really good first season. I'm glad you picked it because this is a show that I have been wanting to watch for a long time. So I'm glad you picked it, Mike. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, all I can say is I'm glad that Brian's got my back on this, because I wasn't a fan. I mean, episode 9 and 10, I think were better than the last couple. I think. Let me make sure I'm got that right. Yeah, definitely better than the last couple to me. Um, 9 was, or 10 was my favorite of the two. Not my favorite episodes of the season though, because I think by this point the it's tapped out for me. Like I just usually as the show goes on and they expand storylines, I get more invested. It's just nothing's grabbing me. Even through 10 episodes of it. So I didn't care for either one of them. I don't think they're necessarily bad television. I don't think there's anything inherently bad about them other than it wasn't interesting to me. So that's how I feel.
Okay. Yeah, let me jump in here real fast and just kind of give my 2 cents on episode 9 and 10. And yeah, just so our listeners know, I'm going to just kind of give you my opinion here. And then I'm going to jump back here in episode 10 and do the scene by scene. Got some stuff going on, so I appreciate you guys being patient. But as far as these episodes go, they were better than last week's. I agree with you, Dustin. I agree with you, Mike, especially on episode 9. I still stand by that this season should have ended at episode 6. It's all right, like as a whole. It's just this show's not for me, man. I'm just ready to get it over with.
And
That's all right, brother. You can be wrong. Go ahead. I'm
Well-
kidding, man. No, I'm kidding.
and before you throw the Emmy nominations in my face again, that happened in 2016. So that's what, season 3 of this show?
Yeah, it gets
So-
better. You gotta let it happen, man.
I don't,
The
but
first season
good
of
for you.
Walking Dead's not the best one. Come on.
It's really good though.
It is really good. It's fantastic.
It's only 6
All right.
episodes. I mean,
Yeah, and this season should have been 6 episodes too.
Yeah. But then season 2, you agreed, Nico, season 2 is awesome.
season 2 is elite.
I don't know
Yeah.
where it came from that season 2 was bad, but they were wrong. That shit's great television.
Who was that? Sean? Didn't Sean say that season
Sean
2 was
Irwin,
bad?
crazy man.
Said it was boring.
No offense, Sean.
Dude, I
Oh
like
my
Sean
God.
a lot. Sean seems like a great guy, but you're dead wrong, pal. Anyway,
You dead
I'm
wrong.
doing the.
You dead wrong, Dale.
Let me tell you something.
That blood gonna be on your hand.
We were lost. What was his line? When it lost that he said funny. Anyway,
You don't know shit. We're lost.
we're
Sorry,
lost.
this
All
He'll
right,
be in.
yeah, I'm doing the scene by scene for episode 9, Underwater. After our recap, we see Shelby's body being wheeled down the steps from the Bates house where Romero is talking with Norma about what happened. She says she has a good idea who did it, that no good Jake Abernathy. I love the silence when she asks why crazy people keep gravitating towards her. Crazy attracts crazy, lady. Romero asks if they got Jake's info, and then we see Dylan and Norman taking Norma's mattress outside. Dylan's all upset that they're throwing it out, but I got to tell you, that mattress looked dingy and disgusting, regardless if there was a dead corpse on it or not. Like, that thing looked way too nasty for that to be the only thing wrong with it. At the dumpster, Norma smells the devil's lettuce and tells Dylan's crew that they can't smoke the pots on their motel porch. To which they replied, "Surely you can't be serious." And Norman said, "I am serious, and don't call me Shirley." They blow her off until she confiscates the weeds and goes off on them about how much of a disaster this move has been, and then finally asks Dylan what kind of work they're in. He's vague, and she says she hates this place and tells Norman they're moving. After the title card, we see Bradley lying in a bathtub filled with water, wearing a dress until Norman starts to drown her, and then he wakes up. Totally normal dream to be having, bud. Norma heads to the motel office where she finds Emma sorting through papers before school, and she tells Emma to throw everything away before heading to town. When she goes outside, she's got a flower delivery with an ominous note, "See you soon, ... She tells Emma to throw the flowers away and tries to call Romero, but he's gone, like always, so she leaves a message. In town, Bradley says hey to Dylan and compliments his truck before asking if he knew her dad. She wants him to help her get some of her dad's stuff from their place of employment. He agrees, and they go their separate ways. That's the open. What do you guys think?
You know, again, I actually like this open set of scenes here for a lot of reasons. It's probably the best part of this episode, in my opinion. First of all, Norma, crazy people keep gravitating to you because you're also fucking crazy. So, like Dustin said, crazy attracts crazy. Look, as an old man, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm getting old, becoming very boomer in my ways. I also hate the smell of weed in a public place. I just do. It fucking stinks. If you walk in straight if you walk into a building straight after smoking pot, you fucking stink, whether you realize you do or not. You smell. And so I don't like to smell it either. Now, I don't care if people smoke. That's on them. I just wish they wouldn't do it in the most public of places, but that's just me. Anyways, do it at home. you know, Norma already wanting to move. Can't stand a quitter, man. Already giving up on the shit. Fucking what? Been open for 3 days. Don't want to throw in the towel. Sitting Brett versus Owen. Come on, man. Keep that towel aside. Anyway, wait, that's Bob Backlund. Never mind. Again, they've been world building, and so I really like this dream sequence that Norman has because it all makes sense to me now. Now, again, if it's answering questions you weren't asking and you don't like the execution of how he is becoming that Norman Bates, that's fine. But you can't say they're not doing it because they're showing you a psychosexual murderer and how he's turning into one. This is a very hypersexualized dream. He had sex with this person and she kind of rejected him, and now he wants to drown her. Again, all stuff that would work in the mind of the Norman Bates from Psycho, in my opinion. Again, you don't have to like it. I understand that completely because I normally don't like prequels, but to me, this makes sense. Last thing I have here, this woman calling the sheriff's office about flowers. The sheriff's office in Polk County would tell her to fuck off. Grady Judd would let out a big old belly laugh at her. Man, get the fuck out of here. That's what he'd say. Go ahead.
Grady Judd stands on business just like Romero does. Starting off, more bad publicity for Norma. This business is going to take off like a lead balloon. I mean, you can't have a dead corpse that was already killed pulled off of your property again. It's like, hell's going on around here? I thought it was a beautiful shot as the two brothers take the mattress away. I agree with you, Dustin. That mattress was nasty, but I thought it was a great shot. The house on the hill and the fog, I thought it looked incredible. Norma snapping on, I think his name was Ralph, however you say his name. No marijuana's at my hotel. I did think when Norma said doobie, I think that's just a hilarious word, doobie. Like, who says doobie? I mean, shout out to, doobie, but yeah, doobie.
Doobie Brothers.
Yeah. Chill your own ass was a great line from Norma. That cracked me up as well. Like, she's so flustered, and I thought it was hilarious. Norma is also very disconnected. How does she not understand that they're processing weed? How does she not get this yet? Like, everybody around them is doing weed. I don't blame her for wanting to leave town, to be honest. It's been a nightmare ever since she got there. I think I'd have been ready to move after the shit happened with, I can't even remember his name, Mike Vogel. Officer Zach. I'd have been out of there with him. Love the camera shots going to the tub and over Bradley and the hell of a dream reveal. Norman is on demon time, imagining choking her out. Like, I thought that was a really good scene. More great facial acting from Vera as she lies about being fine after clearly being frustrated with everything going on. Beautiful flowers, but hard to be excited when the only person who they could be from is Jake's creepy ass. And I love that F-250 Dylan was driving. I'm not really a Ford man, found on road dead, but I love them older F-250s. I'd drive the hell out of it. I'd even let Mike pay for it and let me drive it. And this is the last thing I got, Dustin. Come on, money, man. Don't be stingy.
Buddy, I wish. I'm about to be broke in a week.
Dustin, who's buying a house next week?
Yeah, it ain't me.
Again,
it ain't me either.
Again, that's why I can't give you any.
Last thing I got, though, Bradley, she comes off like she's interested in Dylan. Maybe that is her personality, and I'll touch on that more on the streets.
Really quick, two things. One, Norma, and it doesn't get any better, spoiler, Norma is stupid, okay? Norma is a dumb, frustrating character, I'd say 9 out of 10 times. Great character, great acted by Vera Farmiga, but I think she's stupid. Also, last thing, I want to clear up my stance on weed here. I don't mind if you smoke. You want to smoke in your room, you want to do whatever, I don't care. But just know you fucking stink. If you light up, hotbox your car, and you walk in to the building I'm in, I can smell you, and it's not pleasant. Sorry, that's all I got.
No, it stinks. It smells horrible.
Yeah, it's awful.
If you don't have your own personal house, The only way you should take it is in an edible form.
And by the way, you ones that think you have the pins that smell like blueberries, you don't smell like blueberries. You smell like skunk blueberry. That's what you smell like. I promise. Someone I know you're listening.
First of all, I believe, Nico, that was a F350, not F250. And I only point that out because, again, I say, yeah, it's a good looking truck, but if you're going to get an F350, why would you get a gas powered? Get the diesel, it's got more energy or more power. If you don't want that much power, to get an F250. Look, what's the point?
We
I
can't
thought
afford diesel.
I thought it
in
was
this
an
economy.
F250, to be honest with you.
I looked, unless they changed trucks, because I paused it and looked when I brought that up on that review.
Jamie,
on that episode.
Jamie, bring that up.
Jamie, bring it up.
But it must be nice to afford diesel. That's all I'm saying.
Then don't get that truck. It's simple. But
you got a gas powered one. Thank you.
It still costs. It's still, you're paying more than you would for a
way more.
Anyway, and Ford's a good truck. Anyway, next set of scenes. Norman storms into her realtor's office and interrupts his call to complain about not being told about the bypass. She threatens to sue and says she wants her money back. He says he'll relist it, and she leaves. At school, Norman sees a sign for the winter formal, and his teacher, who has the hots for him, compliments his short story and offers to help him get it published. Back at the motel, Norma is cleaning up Dylan's employee's room when Jake Abernathy's car drives by slowly, causing her to search the web for the safest cities in America. She goes to tell him to lock the door, but is thrown off by Norman carrying his dead dog's stuffed corpse. He tells her about his good grades, and she says she's proud of him, and he tells her he really likes the school. Later, Dylan sees Norman's new dead pet, and then sees that he's searching the web for the meaning of his dream. From here on out, I'm going to say Googling instead of searching the web. I know they're not really using Google, but it's just much easier. Dylan asks who he was drowning in his dream, and Norman tells him it was Bradley, and he wouldn't ever want to hurt anyone, except him once in a while. Haha. We catch up with the Tremors hard at work, and Dylan asks Gil if Bradley's dad had an office. Gil tells him he can take the office and to throw out his stuff. Back at the motel, Emma sees one of the tenants smoking a left-handed cigarette, so she tells him to knock it off. He offers her some of the illegal substances, but she refuses, and he puts it out. We then see Norman working on his story with his teacher, and she's smoldering on the inside more than the guy in his story. Later that night, the workers are having a hippie jam session next to a fire outside their motel rooms, and I wish Eric Cartman was there to run these hippies off. But instead, Romero shows up. He goes to the office to talk to Norma and says he'll look into the florist, but doesn't think it'll lead to anything. Jake Abernathy's a fake name. She doesn't have any other info to give Romero, and he says he'll have a car patrol her house every half hour and to let him know if anything else happens. She says, like what? He digs up more dead people and puts them in her bed, to which he replies, yeah, like that, and tells her goodnight. I thought that was funny. What'd you guys think?
Okay, Norma, you don't really have a leg to stand on here. You got to do your research, do your due diligence when you start buying a property. Okay, you can't just waltz back in and expect your money back. You signed some papers. You probably didn't read what you signed. Got all excited. We know Norma is a dumb character. We figured that out. She's easy to take advantage of throughout the whole series. Anyway, my man Norman is getting any nanny he wants. Are you kidding me? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Already got Bradley. Emma's just insane about him, which we know how that ends. And then his teacher, Miss Watson, come on, man. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Anyway, where's this man's riz coming from? I gotta know. Female listeners, I know we have 4 of them, like I said last week. I want to know. Leave us comments. What does Norman Bates have in terms of riz? I need to know what the appeal is, okay? As a man, I'm just curious because maybe I could adapt some of his riz. Maybe my wife will like that. I don't know. Anyway, I will say again, very boomer comment here. I'm turning into a fucking old guy like Brian. Clean up your fucking hotel room when you're there. Don't trash a hotel room. That's just fucking. I hate that kind of shit. It's like the shopping cart test, right? No one's watching, so I'm gonna put the shopping cart in the middle of the road and hope nobody sees me. Clean up after your hotel room. You don't have to make it spotless. That's what maids are for, right? But like, don't trash it. Yeah, this hotel room looked like shit. These fucking losers that are staying here in their weed business, as Cartman would say, like you mentioned, bunch of fucking hippies. Listen, when Norman said his grade point average, I wish, man, That's my one regret. I wish I was sniffing a 4.0. I ain't never sniffed a 4.0. Oh, that's not true. But not in high school. I certainly didn't. Um, you know, Norman's kind of like me a little bit. I can't believe I just said that, but I also look up my dreams occasionally. I don't believe any of that shit that it says, but it's comforting. Like, why did I dream about eating this fucking corn the long way? And then I look it up, and now I know why I'm eating the corn the long way. Hey, calm down. It's because I have stress in my life, and that's how I don't know. Anyway,
That's even wilder, brother.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. It's comforting though. By the way, second week in a row, I'm going to stand on business. Stuffing your pet is weird. Stuffing a dog is strange. Keeping it in your bed is even more strange. This man has got some problems, okay? My man Gunner sees the potential in Emma. It's about damn time. You saw the way Gunner looked at her. Huh? When he even respected her and put out his doobie for her. Come on, man. That's respect. That's how you treat a lady right there. Norman Bates could fucking never. And here's Miss Watson being creepy, man. I mean, look, this. I don't really want to get into that. I sent what I sent in the chat, and I'm going to leave it there. But Miss Watson's being creepy as hell. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. My brother in Christ, you mentioned it as a hippie jam sesh. I can't tell you how many. That is Slide by the Goo Goo Dolls that he's playing, and I can't tell you how many times my sorry ass has played that on the guitar for my friends around the fire. That's a great '90s alternative rock song, there, brother.
I have a hot take, bro. When you're sitting around a fire and the one guy starts playing the guitar is just as bad as the drunk white guy that starts freestyling at the party.
Hold on.
I don't want either
I
one.
would never. You never play without being asked. That's the difference. If you're asked to play, I'll play all night.
And no offense, anytime that person asks, "Hey, won't you play guitar?" I look at them like I wish that they would just combust.
Hey, man, that's your style. I understand.
It's my style. Yeah, different strokes.
Yeah, that's right. Different strokes. You're wrong. Your strokes suck. Anyway, last thing I have here.
Whoa, that was outrageous.
That was outrageous. Let me turn my hat back the right way here. Excuse me. Man, Sideways had me acting all kinds of crazy. Last thing I have here. I love Romero and Norma's on-screen dynamic. It's starting to develop. It's starting to get sarcastic. I love that somebody will actually stand up to Norma and put her in her place and not make her seem like this fucking know-it-all smart person. She's stupid and Romero calls her out for it. I fucking love it.
Before you go, Nico, I want to touch on something you said, Mike. You said that you saw how Buddy treated Emma, like he saw her potential and he treated her nice, left her a little gift.
Yeah.
That's how you treat a woman. Take notes, Norman. We see who she still wants. Being nice to a woman don't work.
Not for long. Not for long.
What'd you just say, Dustin? Say that one more. Say it again, Kenny.
Being nice to women does not work.
I got to call Mike out. We got way more than 4 female listeners. We have a lot for some reason. Like, I don't know why y'all like us, but
I know, but that's the
we
joke.
appreciate it.
That's the joke. We very much appreciate it. I don't know why y'all. I bet there's at least once a week that one of our female listeners wants to punch Dustin. It's got to happen at least once.
That's what I was going to say. They listen, so they're just like building ammunition. One of these days, I'm going to turn up dead because our female listeners have put a hit out on me, and I completely understand it.
Hey, they're rage listening. There's nothing wrong with rage listening. You know, I got no problem with that.
Yeah, they're filling out a burn book, all of Dustin right now.
I completely understand. I would not even be upset if that's how I go out.
That's from Mean Girls, Nico. Oh yeah, that's a cool movie. Anywho,
you don't do that. Don't pull a Mean Girls quote and act like that's something that you can puff your chest about. It's Mean Girls, brother.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, there's so many great movies that you haven't watched, but you've seen Mean Girls and even know obscure quotes like that one?
Yeah, sure do.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's clear this up for Dustin. You're wrong, pal. Mean Girls is great, and Burn Book is a very not obscure quote.
It's a good movie. But like of all the movies for a gentleman of our ages to have seen, you're going to pull that movie out. You're going to sit there owning a fireworks stand and not even have any Husker Do's, Husker Don'ts. Like, I don't want, what is happening?
No whistling bone
The
holes.
do haves and the do not haves.
With or without the scooter sticks.
All right, where are we at? All right, let's get back on Bates Motel. Norma is fuming. I would hate to be this realtor right now. Good review talk here, but Norman's teacher, Miss Blair Watson, finer than a frog hair split 4 ways. If you know, you know. And some more good review talk. I agree with you, Mike, but I don't know how anyone can trash a motel room like these animals have. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a decent, thoughtful person. I would never do nothing like that. I agree with you, Mike. You don't have to have the place spotless, but just leaving trash and beer bottles everywhere, just don't be that person.
They're hippies.
I don't care.
No, you're expecting too much out of those people.
Man, they supposed to love Mother Earth and all that. Clean up after yourself.
They
animal.
don't even shower. They're going to clean a hotel room.
I got nothing. You kind of right about that. I think, like you mentioned, Mike, I think it's a nice touch. The show has Norman Googling what his dreams are. That's very realistic. Like even like, I know all of us, like whenever you get a symptom, you Google it, WebMD it. Oh God, I'm going to die tomorrow because I'm coughing or whatever. But I thought that was very realistic. Norman never said he hasn't hurt someone. He says he doesn't want to. I thought that was a very nice line. Proud of Emma for finding her voice and standing on business. Miss Watson cannot hide how much she wants Norman. My goodness, chill out, lady. You're about to end up on a news headline if you don't calm down. Slide, like you mentioned, Mike, by Google Dolls, such a banger. And honestly, this kind of hangout with friends would be so fun, and it might heal my soul for a bit. I think it'd be a good time to hang out with the buddies and just do that. Romero cracks me with how little he takes Norma seriously. Doesn't give a damn what she says. And the last thing I got is Romero cooked her ass again. My goodness, man is the epitome of standing on business.
And Nico, I'm formally inviting you to meet us in Daytona for a couple nights this year. Come on over. Watch me and Vinny play. It'll be a
When
great
is that?
time. Around 4th of July.
My invitation has been rescinded because I don't
No,
like
it
guitar playing
hasn't.
around
You're
a
always
fire. I
invited.
see how it
I've
is.
invited you twice already, you son of a bitch.
Damn,
All
hasn't
right,
invited me
guys.
once.
Here's
Yeah,
the
I have.
ending.
You still remember? I invited the whole group.
Here's the ending. Norman is at his locker and he sees Bradley as he walks off. They smile at each other in passing, and then Norman gets his psycho look on while the score changes to let us know it's not a happy time. At the motel office, Emma finds a gift with a note from the pothead saying he hopes he didn't get her into trouble. We jump ahead to nighttime where Dylan meets Bradley at a diner. She asks when he can sneak her into her dad's office, but he says it would be better if he just brought her the belongings. She gives him a sob story and he folds like origami. Dummy. This girl is a manipulator from way back. Back at the motel office, Emma gets a call, but it's the wrong number, and she decides to eat the gift left for her. Girl ate a whole weed cupcake. She's about to be on Saturn. Up on the hill, Norma pitches the idea of moving to Hawaii, and Norman is against it. What? He snaps on her and calls her crazy, but immediately goes the coward's route and apologizes. The moment is broken up by Emma walking in with Gandalf's staff, saying there's video monitoring equipment in the office, but she's just paranoid from the leafy greens she digested. She tells Norma she ate the cupcake, and Norma tells Norman to get her some toast. We cut to Dylan and Bradley doing a B&E, and they're met with gunfire from Remo. He calls Dylan insane for bringing Bradley there, but lets them go about their business. Bradley gets emotional at her dad's desk and looks for his pocket watch. Instead, she finds a letter from her dad's mistress and has to leave. Dylan comforts her and hits her with a smooth line before hugging her. Yeah, Norman is actually going to end up killing his brother, ain't he? Back at home, Norma asks Norman if she can sleep in his room and wants to sleep in the bed with him like a real weirdo. Imagine he has another one of his little sex dreams while his mom is cuddled up with him. Yikes. And also, that bed is ridiculously small. There's no way two people could sleep on that bed. The next day at school, he tells the teacher he doesn't want to pursue getting his story published. Teacher gets all weird and says he doesn't need Norma's permission to publish it. We cut to the realtor's office where he tries to avoid Norma again, but she catches him. He tells her he can't sell the motel, and the value is maybe half of what she paid. She threatens to sue him, but he's drowning in debt with no assets, so she just assaults him instead. When she gets in her car, we get a good jump scare as Jake Abernathy pops up from the back seat with a gun and says Shelby owed him $150,000 from the sale of the last batch of girls, and it's missing. He tells her to bring him the money tomorrow at midnight at the Seacliff Pier. She agrees, and he threatens to kill Dylan, Norman, and her if she doesn't. He exits the vehicle, and the episode ends.
Man, Norman passing Bradley in the hall. He tried to give her that little nod and smile. Just the coldest of shoulders. Jesus, that's tough. Again, you kind of did tell everybody that you hooked up in school somehow. So anyway, see, like I mentioned last time here, Dustin, I know what you're getting at, okay? But Gunner, again, leaves a nice little gift, remembered her name. It's all just hey,
No,
hey, you
I
just
feel
sit
you.
and enjoy. Hey, you just sit and enjoy the ride. The Rockets to take your ass on. Oh, sorry, wrong pod, wrong pod.
I
Sorry.
feel you, but it's just and let me tell you how the real world works, pal. That don't work. That don't work.
I know, buddy.
Oh, you're
I mean,
so
it worked for me,
sweet.
but
That's so sweet. I want the bad boy, the murderous
hey, it
guy.
worked for me once, and now I'm married to her. It didn't work any of the other times.
Well, I mean, she
Also,
just saw that net worth and was like, I got to marry this guy. I understand it.
buddy, I can't even think of one thing that honestly, that's probably her least favorite thing about me is my net worth because it's ass. Um,
That
also,
was
I just
hateful of
don't
me. I
know.
apologize. You're a great guy, and I'm glad you have each other. That sounded awful of me to say that.
No, it didn't. It was hilarious. I also just don't think we should give someone with CF pot cupcakes, right? Like that feels. I don't know. I don't know if I like it. It's a little dirty, especially when you didn't tell her that it was in there. Anyway, look, when Norman finds out that Bradley and Dylan are secretly seeing each other, my man is going to have a conniption, and boy, does he. Right? I mean, he's going to fucking lose it. Here's a plot hole, though. Emma eats this cupcake like it's the most scrumdiddlyumptious thing she's ever tasted. Have you ever eaten a pot brownie or pot cupcake? That shit tastes like fucking ass. Always. Gummies don't taste good. The brownies don't taste good. The cakes don't taste good. It tastes like pot. Okay? So she was enjoying that like it was the best thing she'd ever eaten. And I call BS. You can taste it. You can smell it. It ain't good. What's up?
I think she knew that it was a pot brownie though, because he
Oh.
told her he had it and he had some
No, that's
cupcakes.
fine. No, that's okay. But she still acted like it tasted good. And I just don't believe that.
Yeah,
I mean, you
that's fair.
kind of do it to just do it because you know it's going to kick in really good at some point. It's going to be great. But yeah, if she knew, that's fine. But that shit didn't taste good. I've called bullshit on that. Again, Norman, yet again, calling Norma crazy. He's not wrong, by the way. Norma is crazy, but obviously he's the real crazy one. But who made him crazy? I don't know. We'll guess we'll find out. And I know in Dustin's delight, we have 40 more episodes to find out. So can't wait to dive in there. Emma being high is hilarious, though. I thought that she acted this really well. Just how, like, not too strong of a character change, but just enough. She's very talkative. She's trying to make jokes, the stick and all that. I thought that was pretty funny. I will say, even with the addition of Bradley and this tie to her dad, her daddy, I don't care that much about Dylan's work. Not yet. And I know that I will because I've seen the series all the way through. But there are parts of me that just like that's not a world I'm ready to live in yet. I don't know what that is, but also this gives big weirdo vibes for Dylan. And I think he's innocently helping Bradley. I truly don't think anything about it. But from the outside looking in, it's a 21-year-old hitting on a high schooler. I'm just saying. So it's a little odd for Dylan here. It doesn't look great. The optics are bad. Okay. Look, finding out about an affair post death would be earth shattering to me. That would be one of the worst fucking things. And for anyone that's gone through that, I am truly sorry. Like that would actually really hurt my soul. You kind of go through this grief process and then you find it out. So that's even more grief you have to deal with. Just a terrible situation that Bradley is going through, which is, again, we get a little glimpse of it in episode 10. It does look like Norman Bates took a little bit of an advantage of that situation. Just throwing that out there. Here's the thing, though. Why are these two lying in bed together like this? This is fucking weird. This is fucking disgusting. Uh, they keep doing this weird sexual thing between them, and I hate it. When Norman finally makes that switch, though, whose fault is it really? Because she's the one that fostered this environment. Norma getting scammed cracked me up, not gonna lie, because she's stupid. She didn't read the fine print. She didn't know anything. Just signed her life away for a rusty bicycle here, and now she has to pay for it. Sucks to suck. You got scammed by a really bad realtor because he's apparently in $30,000 of debt or whatever he said, 330,000, one of those. Last thing I have here, this felt like a little bit of a filler episode, kind of like my commentary in this set of scenes feels like filler, and I'm just rambling. But it did end on a good cliffhanger. I did like the cliffhanger. And listeners, you can't see this right now, but Nico's got this faded up beard going on, and it looks pretty damn good, buddy.
God forbid a man pampers himself. Anywho, all right. I thought it was adorable. I just said adorable. Oh my god. I don't care. Adorable of Gunner to give Emma a weed cupcake and a card. Who says romance is dead? Bradley, who has a boyfriend, is out in public again with another man. I know when her phone connects to her car navigation, it says home is the streets. This girl is something else. Bad idea, Emma. That weed brownie gonna knock you on your ass once it kicks in. I've only taken an edible once. It took forever to kick in. When it did, I thought I was dying, boys. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was a goner. Loving Norman's outburst and his descent into madness. Man snapped on his mama, called her ass crazy. I was like, damn, all right, tell her how she is. Yep, the weed is kicked in. Emma thinks she's being watched and tripping hard now. I related to that. And I thought it was hilarious whenever, like, Norma is like, you smoked weed? She's like, no, I ate it. I thought that line was hilarious. I thought it was a great line delivery. Reno is a horrible shot. How did he miss shooting Dylan and Bradley? Harry from Dumb and Dumber is a better shot than this guy. What happened, man? Like, you're supposed to protect this place? Poor Bradley. Pops is dead, and now you find out he cheats just like you do. It's a cold world. It is a cold world. I'm on Bradley's ass right now. I'm being real mean. It sounds like Dylan just flirted with Bradley. How couldn't anyone love you? Curious if in season 2 they explore that. Norma asking to sleep in Norman's bed and the smile she made was very weird. The embrace and the way they cuddled was very weird too. This is fine for like a young child, but 17-year-old Norman, I don't know about all this. This is pretty sketchy. Miss Watson, aching for a quaking. You need to go take a cold shower, teacher. This is ridiculous. And this realtor is about to catch hell, telling Norma how much money she's lost, and best thing she can do is walk away from her investment. Lord have mercy. I don't endorse violence, but I understand Norma's outburst on Matt. You got to tell her about that highway that's proposed, right? Like, as the realtor, like, you got to say, hey, I just got to say, there's some legal talk going on. You know, there's some propositions going on. There might be a highway. Like, you got to mention that. Jake, Randy Orton, the hell out of Norma. And I ain't gonna lie, my first watch, it kind of scared me. It was a good jump scare. Jake is telling Norman to bring me my money like I tell Believe when me and Dustin barely scrape out 30 minutes in an instant reaction. And the last thing I got is Vera with more great acting. Hell of an ending. Let's get to the finale. Bring me my money.
Real quick, I'll just give my final thoughts. Like, I don't know. I think this episode was just okay. Still not set me on fire. I do think the ending was solid with Jake popping up in the back seat. I gave this episode a 6. And I want to offer some advice to any of our listeners. There's been a lot of edible talk on this episode. If you ever do a weed edible and you're sitting there like 10 minutes later, you're like, I don't feel anything. Go ahead and immediately eat 2 to 3 more. That's how you get it to kick in.
Yeah, there you go. Take some more of it. Any final thoughts on episode 9?
Yeah, don't listen to what Dustin just said. Good Jesus almighty.
I'm telling you, I'm trying to get people to go to Saturn.
Yeah, you are.
They're gonna be hearing colors when I'm done with them.
All right, Brian, whenever you're ready, episode 10, scene by scene.
All right, I'm back. Let's get into episode 10, the season finale. Thank God, midnight. We open up with our girl Norma on a rampage to Romero, where she tells Romero about Abernathy's threat and the plan to bring the money to the dock. Romero says he'll take care of it, but Norma's skeptical, to say the least. We cut back to the CW plotline at the school, and Norman finds Emma looking at a banner for the winter formal and offers to go with her, to which she accepts. Back at the Bates place, Norma serves Dylan some fucking French toast and then asks him to get a gun. Asks her to get a gun and teach her how to use it. He says, absolutely fucking not, and then asks why she needs it. And she goes ahead and tells him about Abernathy, Romero, and everything going on. He says to her that a gun is a bad idea. And guess what? We all agree, Dylan. We then cut to Romero's house, and my guy pulls a bag out of the trunk of his old car full of that money Abernathy's looking for. I haven't seen money like that since Mike let me use his duffel bag that one time. But yeah, then we get a title card. We then cut to Norma going to see Dr. Kurata alone. She asks for advice on how to handle stress and why she's feeling the stress. Blah, blah, blah. Kurata notes that Norman's not really a boy anymore. We find out a little bit more about Norma as a little girl. This triggers her being sick to her stomach, and she leaves, so we know some serious shit went down. We find that out later. But back at school, Norman overhears Mrs. Watson screaming at someone named Eric on the phone. He says he doesn't want to publish his story. She says she understands, but look, most importantly, don't tell anyone about her phone call. She touches his face romantically and says that they have a secret now before hugging him. And somebody's going to get arrested in this damn episode. Holy shit. That man, she's trying to go to jail. That boy is 17. We cut to Romero going to see Keith Summers' sister Maggie, who has a black eye. She wants to fight for some equal rights and lefts. He confronts her about all the bookkeeping and calls Abernathy Joe Floretti and tells him that he's running the same operation up and down the coast. A godfather, man, pimping hoes from coast to coast. She asks what happens to her now. He says nothing if she keeps her mouth shut. Finally, we cut to Emma showing up to work and shows Norma the pretty dress that she got for the dance. And Emma notices a scar on Norma's leg, to which Norma dismisses with some BS story about spilling tea on her leg. And that's it. Go ahead, man.
I cracked up at the receptionist not knowing Norma's name after as many times as she's been there. Like, are you fucking kidding me? And I love the way Romero treats Norma. He acts like he doesn't care at all, but he is the epitome, like I've said, of standing on business. His word is his word. If he shakes your hand, you can take that for what it is. Damn, Norma saying Emma looks pathetic. I thought that was just mean. But I do like their relationship. It's funny how they bounce back and forth between the insults and the jokes. Like, I like their relationship. Very impressed with Vera's acting as Norma, the way she went off with those lines, begging for a gun, saying she doesn't trust Romero, etc. This is the one I was talking about, Mike. I thought it was very impressive when she's talking to Dylan. I like that. I thought she did fantastic. Wish that was me finding that 150K. I need it more than SpongeBob needed that water and Sandy's air dome. Like, goodness gracious, 150K would change my life, boys. Last episode of the season, I have to say it one last time. I love the show car sign, the Bates Motel sign lighting up. I love it. And you can tell this is pre-COVID. Getting in to see a doctor or a therapist without an appointment, yeah, good luck. That ain't happening now. I'm no expert, but it's obvious Norma has issues from her own childhood she hasn't dealt with, and boy, howdy, does she reveal some shit later. Norman walks in on his teacher, Miss Watson, going off on whoever her significant other is. Whew. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. The way she touched his face is very inappropriate for their relationship. I've seen this before in news headlines. You better back away, Miss Watson. Romero isn't by the book, but I respect the way he does things. I think he did Maggie right in this exchange. I thought it was a good opening. Go ahead, Mike.
By the way, I forgot to do it last episode, but shout out to the very necessary and productive recap of what we've seen so far this season. As we're watching weekly television, we must be caught up sometimes because a week goes by and we forget. Anywho, it's a rib, pal. It's a rib. That's all I got to do. Don't work yourself into a shoot. You know what I mean?
No.
Norma needs to learn to trust people. You know, it really is part of her problem out here walking around like Steve Austin. When Romero says it's business, he's going to take care of it. And I believe him when he says it, kind of like Nico touched on there. Look, Norman could have ended up totally normal if he had just picked Emma. I mean, what are we doing here? What is he waiting on? You know, it's just like You, right? The show You, where like Love Quinn. I know Guinevere Beck's your favorite, Dustin, but I'm just talking about matching wise. Love Quinn is the perfect match for Joe Goldberg, and he just rejects it. He doesn't take it because she's just as crazy as he is. It's crazy. Emma's the perfect ride or die for you, brother. You know, short term, long term, whatever she ends up making it in, you can't worry about that right now. You got to worry about that later. Anyway, I will say, I do like Romero starting to involve himself here. You know, in this episode, and we kind of find out what happens. So he is a guy that stands on business, like we've said a couple times. But he kind of Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Romero gives off the vibe of someone that may be crooked, right? And again, he doesn't do it by the books all the time, but he gives off the vibe of someone that may be crooked, but he's not. And again, I mentioned it in my open, where he's kind of the moral backbone so far of the show. When everyone else is kind of fucking around and losing their morals, him and Dylan, for the most part, Dylan, kind of, stand on their words, stand on what they said. They want to be the opposite of these other crazy people in their life. I liked when Norma yelled, "Screw off, shithead," because I've always found it hilarious when people replace a cuss word with another word and still put a cuss word in that same sentence.
Yeah.
Screw off, shithead is funny. Like, I'm sorry, that's just that cracked me up. And I'm glad to see Norma at therapy because she needs it. You know, and it's very clear that she's lying here to this therapist. She's not an only child. And boy, howdy, do we get revealed later that I now remember how that all plays out. So that's something. This teacher wants it bad. My God, like you mentioned, Nico, Miss Watson, why don't you have a seat right over here? That's what you need to be doing. This is gross and absurd. What I will say seriously, why don't you have a seat right over here, Miss Watson? Because that's tough, man. That's gross. Again, I like them layering Romero into the story. I said a few weeks back that this trafficking, everything going on in the town story is not over. By the way, it's still not over. I like that they're peeling back the onion. We get to just kind of see it slowly. And if you don't like that direction, I understand, but I do. And so I think it's good storytelling as they kind of untangle the web of this town. Last thing, look, Norma doesn't need to be a mother figure for fucking anyone, especially Emma. Emma, run. I know you can't really run that bad or run that well, but run far away. Don't ever let Norma fucking influence you.
Come on, dog. She can't run. Anyway, Norma at the police station was a little too comedic for me. Like, Norma just seemed, she was way over the top here and not genuinely scared enough for me. Like, she should have been scared. I do like how Romero looked while she told him about all this. He just sat there stoically. He looked like half of him thought she was crying wolf again, and half of him, he's dealt with worse, so he wasn't worried. I like that. Then at school, Norman really has a way with his words. What a jerk. In the real world, Emma would have told him to kick rocks. He's like, fine, I'll go with you. Get out of here. And then, of course, Romero knew where the 150,000 was. Like, he didn't have to look for it. He went straight to it. Least shocking development of all time. This show just continues to make up new plot points only to answer them with the most predictable and easy solutions possible. And then it gets even worse with Norma and the guy outside the cleaners. Like, his response to her apology was, yeah, I guess. Like, come on. And then her yelling what she did, that was ridiculous. I didn't like that at all. I don't know what to think of the next couple scenes. Norma going to therapy and getting all fidgety when he asked about her childhood and leaving. And then the teacher yelling at a guy on the phone. And of course, Norman just happened to overhear it. On the surface, they're fine developments, but they just seem superficial and cheap to me. It tries to make Norma more interesting with her backstory and plant seeds that Norman's relationship with his teacher is inching closer to full-on statutory. But it just didn't work for me. I didn't like how they were executed. The scene with Romero and Keith's sister was fine though. Like, it did work. We have a name, maybe a fake name, but we got a new name. It's at least a lead. But then back to the stuff that just didn't move the needle for me. Using the dress as an excuse for Emma to see the scar on Norma's leg, it just felt forced. I didn't believe it. The word I'd use to describe the opening set of scenes here is off balance. There's some good and there's some bad. So it's just kind of, I guess that makes it balanced, actually. I don't know.
Fair enough.
All right, let's get on here to next set of scenes. We open up with Dylan pulling up to the hotel with a gun, saying, hey, he changed his mind, and they head to a field to learn how to shoot. Norman and Dylan bicker, but nicely. He calls her mom, which she notes he hasn't done in years, and he also notes she has a loaded gun in her hand, and the two kind of share a nice little moment, and I really enjoyed that. We jump ahead back to the hotel where Maggie Summers goes to see Norma and warns her to just give Abernathy the money if she has it, because Abernathy will kill her. Pointless scene to me. Back at the house, it's Bradley at the door, but not here to see him. Holy shit, it's here to see Dylan for the stuff out of her dad's office. Norman eavesdrops, says she thanks him for all his help and says she'll stop bothering him now. He says she can keep bothering him, to which Norman does not like. And holy shit, guess who's not of age? Oh, her. Guess who's over 21? Oh, him. I swear somebody's gonna get fucking arrested up in here. Somebody in this episode's getting arrested. Later, Norma's handling the gun when Norman storms in, angry that he has no black socks. He escalated quickly. Dylan offers him a pair of his own, and Dylan gives him the socks, and he gets absolutely no fucking thank you in return, and asks if he's mad about Bradley. Norman says he's 100% completely over it, and tells Dylan to go out with her if he wants to. Dude, what is happening here? She is underage. While waiting for Emma to arrive to pick him up for the dance, Norma makes a stunning confession at the worst possible time, saying she wants someone to know the truth about her. She grew up in Akron, and her older brother repeatedly raped her from when she was 13 until he moved out, many years. Her mother was mentally checked out, they were poor, and her father was so terrible she was worried that if she told him, he would kill her brother. One day, when he was doing terrible things to her, she heard her father come home and jumped up so quickly that she hit an iron and it fell on her leg, which is where the scar comes from. You know what? Great story. Terrible time to show it, or to tell it, because he cries Norman cries, says he's sorry, and they hug. And just in time for Ember to show up. And Norman and Emma leave, and Abernathy calls, giving some cryptic reminder about midnight. Emma and Norman arrive at the dance, and he can't stop looking at Bradley. And then we cut back to Norma loading her gun and packing a bag with a pillow. And the next set of scenes is the ending of the entire season.
Shout out to Dylan being a good son and helping Mama out. I thought it was a funny reaction by Norma completely whiffing her shot and giving it the "how did I miss" look. I thought that was hilarious. Nice to see Dylan's walls come down and call Norma mom, and her showing her fear as well. Like, I like seeing them like acting like mother and son. Like, I like that. Maggie showing up to tell Norma of Jake wasn't necessary to me. I think Norman knows his stakes, and I didn't really care for that. That boy Norman was sick hearing Bradley ask for Dylan. You can see that brother was stewing. I wonder if Dylan never told Norma not to hold a gun towards herself, because what the hell are you doing, Norma? Like, you don't, what are you doing? Another great outburst from Norman. Bro is tweaking over some black socks, and that shit was sending me. This man was so pissed off because he couldn't find black socks. Man, what
What's
problems he
crazy
has.
is he had some like blue or yellow ones in the drawer that would have looked snazzy with a suit.
He wanted black socks, though, man. Then Dylan's nonchalant answer, "I've got some black socks he can use." Dude, that was funny as hell to me, too. Like, this shit was hilarious. Norman lying his ass off saying he's over Bradley. That brother was fuming. He was stewing over there. Norma's big reveal. She grew up in Akron, Ohio, same place as Dustin's GOAT, LeBron James.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Look, continuing on. What the fuck, Norman? Your brother forced you to have sex with him for how long? I was not expecting this revelation. This was fucked up. And after hearing all this, yeah, Norman, you need to go see a psychologist. You need to be there ASAP, actually. And damn, this dance is fancy. Is it just me? Like, my old school had them in like the gym or the lunchroom, and there was like some balloons hung up. Like, we did not have this. All right, this is the last thing I got. A lot of drama, crazy family reveals, and I'm ready for the ending. I thought there's some wild stuff going on.
Well, this is 2013. That's I excuse the school dance because I'm sure kids these days, they don't know how we had it. We used to walk uphill both ways to get to school. I knew that's what you were going to say.
In the rain.
In the rain.
Without black socks.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
You're good. It's your turn anyway.
Sorry about that. About shit my pants, as you know. Oh man. I mean, and here's Dylan. He mentioned, he won't regret it. Oh, Dylan, you will regret it, buddy. You will regret getting this close to Norma and being nice to her. That's all I'm gonna say. Again, Norma telling Dylan that she doesn't like his work is hilarious. Who gives a fuck what you like, Norma? You're dumb. You don't know how this town works. I tried to tell you that I'd say over half the economy is done by the fucking weed business, man. This man is stacking dimes while you're hemorrhaging money from this flea bag hotel that you run. Try again. Anyway, this is a somewhat touching moment between these two, though. I don't know if that's what I was asking for between Dylan and Norma, but it was kind of nice to see him help her learn how to shoot a gun, even though she didn't seem to take his advice very well. This is the last time that we see Keith Summers' sister, to my knowledge. Her walking up to the hotel like this. Bradley, man, she makes some bad fucking choices here. It is disrespectful to play at Norman's face like this. Come to the door, this is where Norman lives. Fucking ask for Dylan when you get to the door and expect this motherfucker to keep his cool. You saw him that night. You knew what he's capable of, and then you go and do some shit like this. I'm not blaming her. I'm just saying. Like, Nico is starting to kind of figure out she's become not so great. That's all I'm going to say. Although her dad is a big fuck ass, okay? I couldn't think of anything worse to call him. He's a piece of shit, as later seasons reveal. So, anyway, from a 1,000-foot view, though, these Norman spats are hilarious to me. The way they get into it, how intense they are for like 15 seconds, and then everything's cool again. I find them to be quite funny. And I think Highmore and Farmiga are great in them. And Highmore is great here in this scene with Dylan. The way he's slowly unraveling right in front of our eyes is great acting by Highmore. And the fact that Dylan didn't quite pick up on it enough, wasn't quite worried or scared enough was interesting to me. He seems to be mostly smart. This is the worst time that Norma could have possibly dropped some incest shit on me, man. Are you kidding me? I'm about to go to the winter formal with Emma, and you put me in this state of mind. Look, it's sad, it's tragic, it is a bombshell. It's kind of explains a lot of the way that Norma is. However, this is a manipulative time to drop this information on your son. That's fucked up. You could have done this anytime. You could have done this after the formal. You could have done this tomorrow morning. You could have done this anytime. And you chose right before Emma knocks on the damn door. I hate that shit. Poor Emma, by the way. Norman's reaction sucks, man. You know, I mean, you could at least compliment your date, even though you probably don't want to be there with her. I think that's fucked up. His reaction stinks, pal. How is this guy getting Norma's phone number to call him or to call her and like, hey, you didn't forget about our meeting at midnight? How was he getting her phone number? Did I miss how they acquired a cell phone number? That seems a little funky to me. Side note, winter formals never looked this cool when I was in school, man. Normally they just stuck a fucking stupid Christmas tree up in the corner and had a disco ball. That's all that shit was.
That's
this
what Nico
nicely
said. That's
decorated,
funny.
buddy. Hey, this is nicely decorated right here. Last thing I have, pay attention to Emma, you stupid fuck, you sorry sack of shit. That's all I had.
Yeah, Dylan teaching Norman how to shoot, or Norma how to shoot, was an okay scene, but I laughed when he said, "See, that's why I didn't tell you." Yeah, turn it back around on her and act like any mother should be lucky that their son is, guarding a pot field and risking not only jail but his life for work. That's real smart. Then I know Norma's stomach had to be in knots when Keith's sister warned her, not because she added validity to Abernathy's threat, but because she had to be thinking another Summers family member was coming to try and run her off. Like, it's another Summers I got to deal with. And I know Norman's stomach was in knots when that no good harlot Bradley rang his doorbell. Man was brooding when he was listening to Dylan and her talking. More unintentional comedy when Norma put the gun under her blanket. Like the way she threw her legs in the air and scrambled. It shouldn't have been as funny as it was, but I laughed.
It was.
Norma picked a wild time to tell Norman about her childhood. How's he supposed to have a good time at the dance after the worst trauma dump ever? She's from Ohio? Yuck. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's what the cool kids are saying, right? You're so Ohio or whatever the fuck they say. I don't know.
That was a rough story, though, and it does help to explain why she's off in the head. Norma gets the call from Abernathy when Norman and Emma leave. I really hope she called Romero right then. Like, the police should have been able to track that call. Also, why does she not have Romero's cell phone number at this point? Like, she should have it as often as she's talking to him. And Mike, to your point about how did he get her phone number, that's a good point that I didn't consider, but it's a great point. Maybe she has the motel's phones forwarded to her cell phone after hours. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I am ready for the last ever ending set of scenes in season 1 of this show.
I will tell you what, right now, I will never link my work phone to my cell phone again after working at TQL. I can promise you that.
Hey,
Kiss my ass.
Freight, don't sleep, brother.
Don't sleep. Also, never mind. Go ahead. That's all I got. Freight, don't sleep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the end. Back at that dance, not the enchantment under the sea dance, it's not going great for Norman. Emma's annoyed and then angry, saying she can't believe that she thought getting all dressed up would make him realize he had feelings for her. She tells him to get a ride home with someone else. Yeah. Good job, Norman. Oh, it gets even better as Richard calls Norman outside and then punches him for taking advantage of her after her dad died. Ugh. Dude, you know she fucked him and you're still wanting to be with her? Like, what is wrong with all these people? Norman stumbles home in the rain with a bloody face when Blair Watson drives by. Holy shit. She sees his face, takes him to her house to clean him up before she takes him home. We cut to the dock, where Norma is set to meet Abernathy, bag filled with pillow in hand, and she hears Romero and hides. She watches as Romero negotiates a deal with Abernathy, saying he gets 50% of his cut. Abernathy agrees, but when he bends over to take the bag, Romero murders him, and he falls into the water. Romero tosses the satchel that supposedly contains the cash into the harbor, saying under his breath, "Not my town, piece of shit," then says, "You can go home now, Norma." She pops up from behind her hiding place and says, "She almost shot him." He says, listen, bitch, oh, no, he doesn't. He just says, when he says to trust him, she should trust him. It sounded better when I said, though. Back at Mrs. Watson's place, she cleans Norman's face and tells him that he shouldn't tell anyone that he came there. She says she got most of the dirt out. She leaves her door just ajar enough that he can see her disrobe in the mirror. Suddenly, a vision of Norma appears to him on the couch, taunting him. Oh my God, saying that Blair Watson's trying to seduce him. No fucking shit. Quit ruining everything, Norma. But Norma tells him he knows what he has to do, and that means ruin it. And as Norman runs home in the rain, he's literally almost run over by Norma in the motel parking lot. That shit would have been funny. She sees his face and asks what happens, but he says he doesn't know. The last thing that he remembers is that Blair Watson was going to drive him home, but then he was just running along the road. She says everything's okay now, as he's home safe. We then see Blair Watson's lifeless body on her bedroom floor with her throat slit. And around her neck is a pendant with the letter B for Brian. Revealing her to be Jerry Martin's mistress. And that is the end of this season.
Damn, Emma, I respect the hell out of her. She's not scared to say what she thinks or feels, and I like that a lot. Again, I say Richard looks like Robert Pattinson's ugly cousin. Bro needs to be mad at his girlfriend, not Norman. She's the one who invited him to her house to whoop her shit. What did he do? Oh boy, Miss Watson gets Norman all alone in the wild. This cannot be good. And now Norma is at the docks. The whole Bates family is in some shit right now. Intense exchange between Romero and Jake. Romero doesn't mess around. His way, and only his way only. And I like that. Romero continues to stand on business, drop Jake's ass in a quickness, but damn it, man, that was a lot of money. You should have kept that shit. I wouldn't have snitched on you. Glass of tea, little red dress, the fireplace is going at Miss Watson's house. Oh boy. And oh yeah, Miss Watson is aching for it, touching Norman's face, not closing the door as she changes clothes. Goodness gracious. On my first watch, I wasn't expecting this ending. I thought Norman was going to do what we all expected, which I'm not going to say. But what's revealed to have happened shocked the hell out of me, and I was not expecting him to slit her throat later. A beautiful shot as the camera pans away, showing the lot of the hotel and the house. Great prosthetics on the throat slit on Miss Watson as the episode ends, but I got a vent, boys. Amazon Prime ticked me off going to commercial right before this to literally only show her slit throat and then end the show. I had to watch 2 minutes of ads just to watch 13 seconds of show. Amazon, what are we doing here?
Good for you, Emma. Like you mentioned, Nico, she has a spunky attitude. She's going to tell it like it is. She's not going to hold back her feelings ever. And I appreciate that. It's almost like she went skydiving, Rocky Mountain climbing, 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu. She's living like she's dying out here. You know what I mean? She ain't got time for all this holding in her thoughts. You know what I'm saying? That's all anyway, I love that she tells him that he can find another ride home. Let's fucking go. That's how you stick it to him, and he deserves it. She got all nice, dressed up, kind of played along with his, his funny ha-has, talking about how pathetic she was and all this stuff, and still stared at Bradley the whole night. Man, as Nico is so expertly pontificated on this episode, Bradley's not nothing special. You know what I'm saying? She's kind of for everybody. She was like alphabet soup. Anywho, then, hey, how about this, though? I have to point this out. This loser of a boyfriend went back to Bradley after she hooked up with Norman. Are you kidding me? What a cuck. Are you kidding me, brother?
No, you're right.
Shitting me, pal. You gotta be kidding me. I know that she's been through a lot, but ain't no way. Ain't no way. This teacher is yes, sir.
She has been through a lot.
Come on, that don't mean you get to cheat on me with Norman Bates.
No, I'm saying she's been through a lot. She been passed around more than that freaking doobie at the fucking motel.
We're unhinged. We are unhinged.
I think her mom was actually Lori Grimes. Sorry.
All two of our female listeners after this episode. This teacher is the devil. Miss Watson is. This is some evil shit. You knew exactly what you were doing. Like I said, why don't you have a seat right over here, Miss Watson? Could you imagine if Chris Hansen were reading Miss Watson's chats back to her? How funny that would end up being. The way that she kind of tries to manipulate Norman to write it in his paper and turn this in and publish this and all that stuff. Your mother doesn't have to find out. That is called grooming, Miss Watson, and you were trying to do that.
She's just a
Miss
concerned
Norman.
teacher.
All right, dog. All right, dog. I did like this ending, though. I thought it was a great cliffhanger, a great way to end the season. And I love the sense of calm that they give you right before they show it. I know Nico had ads that probably ruined it, but like the way they give you this lore of Norman and Norma are going to be okay. Norman ran away from Miss Watson. He's not getting involved in anything messy. He, finally did the right thing, and everybody's okay. We're going to go back in the house. We're going to make a fire outside. It's going to be a great night. Turn around. He slit the shit out of her throat. My God, man. That is a crazy kill. Really good shot of it as well, like you mentioned, Nico. I thought the ending was great. I thought that episode 10 was a banger, honestly. Maybe my second favorite episode of the season so far. I think it's a banger.
Man, Norman sucks. I watched this show hoping to see Norman be psycho, and all I get was that he occasionally blacks out and stares at a fish fillet when he's got filet mignon on his plate. What an idiot. He deserved that right hook to the face. And of course, his teacher just happens to be driving and picks him up and offers to take him to her place. That storyline just really isn't doing anything for me besides annoying me. I like how Norma saw Romero arrive with a bag of money. In my mind, she had to start thinking at least that he was in on it. It was a really tense scene when Romero led us to believe that he was going to go into business with Abernathy. Norma had her gun drawn, and then bang, an actual good cop. Who knew? But if I'm Norma, I'm jumping in after that money, though. Don't throw that in the water. I'm going in.
I need it.
Teacher lady changing with the door open was annoying. I just don't care. But Norman Bates was a peeping Tom, and him hallucinating that Norma was there, that's a good touch. It's a good callback. Kid is a toy short of a Happy Meal, so all that checks out. But overall, it was just kind of an uneventful finale for me to the season, not this episode. I know Romero shot Abernathy, but it still felt like it was lacking until we see that, the dead teacher to close us out. That almost made up for it all. But unfortunately, it or nothing else in season 1 made me want to start season 2. I gave this one a 6.5.
I have to slightly agree with you on one thing. I love this show. I think all 5 seasons are really good for the most part. One thing I do agree on is it does suffer from the prequel problem that all prequels suffer from. We know how this turns out. So how exciting can you really make it? Not that you can't, right? You can, but how exciting can you really make it when you know where things are going to end up? Like, there's only so much you can do. So I get your argument. I do. It's not that I don't get it. I like the stories they're telling, I guess.
So my issue that I've realized after watching 10 episodes of it is that I go back to what I said from the very beginning. I think this works better as a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Because in my mind,
that'll be fine.
There's 4 more seasons of this. Okay. Norman is a senior in high school. He's got 3 bodies under his belt. Plausibly, how long can he get away with this? Like, how many people is he going to kill? That's not believable.
Annoyingly longer than you'd like.
Yeah, so it's just not believable for me. To make this a 5-season show, to make me care more about it, he shouldn't be involved in any of the killing. There should be killing, sure, but I think this should be more focused on his trauma, like he's experiencing this, and he's got all these things that are all these messed up situations that he and his family keep getting put in the middle of, and it just it turns him into a monster. Season 5, he starts killing. We don't get a season 6, it picks up where the movie was. Like, that works better for me.
Sure. And I don't disagree with that. I do think where the show goes is something that you and Brian will probably hate. And it actually does kind of the opposite. It fleshes out the other characters and the town instead. It really does. It fleshes out Norman Bates too. Like, there's a lot of Norman, but they spend a lot of time on Norma, Dylan, Emma, Norma's brother, spoiler. There's a lot there that and Romero, a lot of Romero, and especially in season 4 and 5, a lot of Romero.
Can't wait,
buddy. Yeah, I can't wait either. It's not my next pick, but it'll get picked again. Don't you worry.
Let's get our ratings.
Lord, send the rapture before that.
Dustin, you want to read Brian's thoughts?
So Brian said, while these last 2 episodes did pick up at least some for me, I still think it should have ended after episode 6. As a whole, I'm not enthralled with it. It's just something that exists. Not anything I'll ever revisit. I gave the series as a whole a 5. I'll go ahead and knock mine out too. I got one fun fact. I mean, it's not really fun facts, just what I do. Vera Farmiga was in the 2001 Hallmark movie Snow White, the Fairest of Them All. There's a pull. With Clancy Brown, aka Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob, who was in Just Before I Go with David Arquette. And my final thoughts for the show: it's well enough made, it really is. But all these side quests just didn't grab my attention, and I feel like the Norman Bates story that we know is stretched way too thin and surrounded by filler. It's like an edible arrangement. No one wants all that honeydew. No one.
Oh,
My-
I like
No.
honeydew melon.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, we know you do, buddy.
My average after all the episodes, I was a little bit more lenient with my scores in the first couple episodes. So my average for season 1 came out to a 6.15.
I'll go next, Mike. What I was mentioning at the beginning, Mike, you already touched on. It's the prequel aspect. Like, there's no anything that involves Norman and Norma. Like, they're going to be okay. Especially watching when there's 50 episodes. It's ended. Blah blah blah. Like, I can't really get to that point where they're in danger. Like, I know they're not. Like, because it's a prequel and all that. But like I've already mentioned, I've been your tag team partner in this one. I've really enjoyed the stories they're telling. I like the nods they've given to the movie, and I've liked the horror people, like the horror alum they brought in. I like that as well. W. Earl Brown, Mike Vogel. Like, I like that touch, and I like exploring the other characters. I mean, the show is called Bates Motel, not Norman Bates. I mean, it's not all about Norman, and he's a fucking loser in the movie anyway. So, anywho, I thought the show was
He is
fine.
a loser in the movie.
I thought the show was good, and I'm looking forward to. I'll probably watch 2 on my own. Just watch it on as a side quest, and not Hellraiser 2022. I gave the show 8.75. Sorry, Dustin.
You should. Oh, Bates Motel. Hey, I didn't hate Hellraiser 2022, but Bates Motel is way better than that fucking movie.
Dustin's just giving me hell because I started watching it when I was at home, but I was dog tired, and Hulu has more ads than Amazon Prime, and I was like, I'm going to sleep.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
Hulu
he's like,
kicks
has
me
the
off.
worst ads.
He's like, I'll finish this tomorrow. Brother, that was like a week ago.
About a week ago.
Also, fun fact there, Dustin. Clancy Brown is a lot of stuff, but he's also the prison guard in Shawshank. You fat barrel monkey spunk. Anyway,
he is.
Okay, so I really love this show. I've made no qualms about that. I understand its problems, especially if you are and I don't mean this in a bad way, if you're very rigid to the traditional Psycho lore, which I didn't really know there was any, but there is, I guess. If you're very rigid to that, then I can understand. I kind of touched on the prequel problem that this show does suffer from, but I love the expansion of the characters. I love that they're touching on the town and what it's doing to Norman. I understand if you wanted even a period piece, right? Like, I don't think that's a big deal, but some people do. Like, I understand. But all that being said, the acting is great. It's wonderfully made. The cast is awesome. I love not all the writing, right? I think they started out in season 1 trying to have a little bit more mass appeal than they do end up having by the end. Like, they just kind of write the show the way they want it written. But I think to get it off the ground, they tried to appeal to a wider audience instead of just the Psycho and the horror fans. All that being said, Highmore's great. Farmiga's great. All the other casts are great. And again, I just love the stories they're telling for the most part. I love expanding on characters, even the Norman stuff. I know he's fine, but I still like the deep dive into his mind. How did he end up this way? Why does he kill? Why is Norma involved? Because in Psycho, you don't really know shit about Norma. So we are fleshing out that character as well. So I enjoyed it. I'm glad we finally got to do it. I forgot it was 10 episodes, honestly. So it'll be a little bit before I come back around to it, because I'm going to try to pick something a little shorter next time so we could get moving. But I gave season 1 an 8.5. And before anyone says anything, I didn't forget the budget. I just couldn't find one. I even asked AI to find it, and they still couldn't find that shit.
How's Nico rating this show higher than you? That gives us a composite score of a 7.1. IMDb for season 1 is a 8.05. Rotten Tomatoes is a 82%. So I am among that 18%.
Yeah, you are.
Actually, I
In
guess
the wrong category.
6.15 is a favorable review, so I guess I'm in the 82%.
There you go.
The
There you
lower
go,
end
buddy.
of it.
Like me and you say, Dustin, a 6 is a good rating. Doesn't mean it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
doesn't
not the
mean-
worst.
Yeah.
I'll
Just
let
doesn't
on
mean
like
it's
it's the worst show I've ever seen, but it's not. It's just not for me.
That's fair. I get it. I get it. Trust me.
Even
the pre-
Centipede was a 6, wasn't it?
Negative 666.
Yeah.
Hey, we appreciate everyone tuning in. I'll go ahead and announce my pick real quick for next week. I think I'm just going to pick The Walking Dead season 2. Let's just redo that one.
Let's
It
go.
was
Hell
fun.
yeah, brother.
That's the most fun I've
Hell
had
yeah.
reviewing something in a long time. It was a good. I'm just kidding. I'm really picking Dahmer, Evan Peters, Niecy Nash, Richard Jenkins, Molly Ringwald, the worst person I've ever met at a convention. But anywho, Dahmer is.
Oh, shit.
I picked Dahmer for one reason and one reason only. We have not covered anything like Dahmer. No true crimey stuff like this. And this show was controversial after it came out. So we're gonna definitely tread carefully. But got to give Evan Peters his flowers. He's incredible. But I'm excited to take it on and see what the guys think of it. I know you've seen it, right, Mike?
Yep.
Dustin, you haven't seen Dahmer though, have you?
No, I've seen stuff about. You talking about Jeffy Dahmer from The Ringer? Jeffy likes to eat apples.
No, we're talking about Dahmer,
Oh,
the cannibal from Milwaukee. Ryan Murphy produced.
Damian Lillard. Yeah, no, I've seen stuff about. I'm familiar with Jeffrey Dahmer. I've read about him a lot, and I've seen other stuff on him. I just haven't seen this in particular, so I'm excited to watch it.
Yep,
Are we
and
all going to do it while drinking a beer or what? Sorry.
Not me, brother.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
root beer? All right, we'll be back next week with episodes 1 and 2 of Dahmer next week. We appreciate everyone tuning in. I'm having a good time with DGOT the series. We'll be back next week.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody